Welcome back. You're watching our continuing coverage on Budget 2012, and we're coming to you live from the Confederation of Indian Industry here in the capital. And let me tell you, the mood as far as industry is concerned has changed dramatically. Industry, on the back of what's happened with the railway budget, the EPFO cut that's been announced last night, is feeling hopeful that Pranab Mukherjee is indeed going to bite the bullet. Once again, in the realm of speculation, but I'm going to stick my neck out, and this is the whispers that are coming in from the corridors of power at this point in time, that he is going to budget for 40,000 crore rupees in terms of sale of spectrum and 30,000 crore rupees by way of disinvestment. It is not confirmed, the budget has not been tabled, but this is what I'm picking up from my sources at this point in time. Let's see if it indeed does make its way into the budget, but 40,000 crore rupees on account of spectrum sale, 30,000 crore rupees in disinvestment, not confirmed at this point in time. Joining me now, the President of the Confederation of Indian Industry, B. Muthuraman, the Vice President of the CII, Adi Godrej, the past President of CII, Hari Bhartiya, and Malvinder Mohan Singh. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us. Mr. Muthuraman, last night we had a conversation with the Commerce Secretary, with the PMEAC member, Soumitra Chaudhary. You believe Pranab Mukherjee is going to bite the bullet, yes or no?
Yes, I believe that he is going to present a strong pro-reform budget. Of course, it will get debated, it may get a little bit watered down, but that is much better than a populistic budget where nothing will happen.
Okay.
And I believe he doesn't have anything to lose. He is going to present a very, very strong budget.
Very, very strong budget. That's what Mr. Muthuraman has to say. Mr. Adi Godrej, revenue mobilization is going to be a key concern as far as Pranab Mukherjee is concerned. Has industry accepted the fact that there will be an excise rate hike, that there will be a service tax rate hike, and there will perhaps be a move towards the GST by way of a negative list?
Well, move to the GST, to my mind, is the most important thing, because once GST is instituted, revenues will really rise. It solves a lot of our macroeconomic problems, including inflation coming down. GDP growth could rise by 1.5 to 2 percentage points, other things being equal. But just raising excise duty rates.
But just on excise, do you anticipate what we are picking up? It could be a calibrated excise duty hike, perhaps higher on sin goods like cigarettes, or do you anticipate an across-the-board excise duty hike?
Well, if it comes across the board, it could have a negative effect. When GDP growth is decelerating, if you raise excise duties, it adds to inflation. It could lead to lower consumption in certain items. It depends on how the GDP growth pans out. To my mind, the best way to do things is to give incentives. For example, the 1.5 lakh exemption in person enjoys in terms of mortgage deductions and other deductions should be raised to about 3 lakhs at least.
That is what the House panel has recommended. Do you think he'll go all the way up to 3 lakhs, or do you think he'll leave a little room for what he could perhaps announce on the personal tax front next year? So it'll again be a calibrated move, a little bit today and a little bit next year.
He should go all the way, because whenever we've been bold in tax reforms, we've done well. Whenever we've been incremental, it has had very little effect.
Okay, Hari Bhartiya, the market is going to be very closely watching out for that fiscal deficit number. If indeed our information is correct that it could be on account of spectrum sale, 40,000 crores, 30,000 crores by way of disinvestment. Of course, this year's disinvestment receipts a big, big disappointment. What do you believe he's going to do?
No, I certainly believe that he has to raise revenue. And he will certainly also stop the high growth of expenditure.
Okay.
Because
oil prices, diesel deregulation, the economic survey yesterday put together a new petrol pricing formula. It also said that a diesel subsidy should be capped per litre. Do you believe that what was recommended in the economic survey may find its way into the budget?
I think so. This time something will be corrected on diesel, definitely, because our subsidy levels are going at a very high level. Urea is one area that we need to curtail subsidy. Some of it, I believe, has been done even before the budget. So rationalization of subsidy is key, because otherwise...
It may be key, but will he be able to do it given the political compulsions and the coalition dharma?
But if you really see, in the last few years, we have increased subsidies, but it has not led to any political gain. But I think efficiency is the driver today.
But do you see him budgeting for the food security bill this time around? Because the nodal ministry, that is the food ministry, seems to have developed cold feet as far as the food security bill is concerned.
I am hoping that he will not budget it in this budget. I am hoping.
Okay.
And I think let's hope that he will say that once it is approved by the parliament, and then probably
Okay.
let it be debated first, because there are many issues around food security.
Malvinder Singh, we have had this conversation several times over. Are you feeling confident that this could be the year when your industry will get infrastructure status?
Well, I think this is the closest we've been. And therefore, the industry is extremely hopeful that the finance minister will give healthcare infrastructure status. And this is something the industry needs very critically for the next level of leap that the industry needs to
What
make.
are the folks at Relic are telling you? Because our information at this point in time seems to suggest that there's going to be plenty for the capital markets, that it may in fact turn out to be an investor-friendly budget. There could be some rationalization as far as the securities transaction tax is concerned. There could be some relaxation on withholding tax for FIIs investing in infra debt funds. Do you believe that we are going to move on those fronts?
I certainly believe that the timing is right for the finance minister to ensure that there is a budget which is very pro-growth, which is pro-investment, and we take advantage of the strength of the Indian economy with adequate amount of capital globally to bring that into the markets.
Mr. Muthuraman, on any of the controversial reforms, FDI and multi-brand retail, insurance, pension, Mamata Banerjee not willing to play ball, do you think he's just going to leave the controversial reforms outside of the budget? FDI and civil aviation.
I don't think so. I think he'll bite the bullet this time. And the happenings after the railway budget presentation, I think has given me a lot of confidence.
It's given you a lot of confidence. Mr. Godrej, stick your neck out. The three things that you think he will do this time around.
Well, I think he will considerably raise the exemption for individual taxpayers in terms of mortgage, etc., because that could provide tremendous incentive to growth. I think the other thing he will do is to perhaps make announcement on the GST, where some of the states' fears are allayed. In fact, I think he needs to be very generous in his announcements on the GST so that it goes through.
But on the direct taxes code, and there's been a lot of talk about anti-black money moves, and especially post the Vodafone transaction, there has been a lot of talk about anti-GAR-like provisions being brought in. Do you believe that he is going to address the Vodafone type of transactions by bringing in legislation this time around?
I'm afraid he might. Although to my mind, the Vodafone judgment has created tremendous confidence in international investors about investing in India. And I would suggest that he doesn't do that, but he might.
Do you believe that there could even be retrospective amendments as far as the Vodafone transaction or Vodafone-like transactions are concerned, or will it be only prospective?
No, I don't think that will be retrospective.
You don't believe that will be retrospective. I'm going to get all of my panelists here to give me their last comments before we actually get into what Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee has to say. Hari Bhartiya, the big priorities. Why will industry walk away disappointed from this room? What are you hoping that he will say, and what would disappoint you?
See, what would disappoint me is that if he continues the path of increasing the expenditure part and does not control subsidy. But what I'm hoping that he's going to do, and he's going to bite the bullet this time, is to start rationalizing subsidy, making sure it reaches the right person.
But will it be credible? Because look at what happened on the oil subsidy front. They only budgeted for about 28,000 crore rupees last year in terms of oil subsidies. And look at where our oil subsidy bill today stands. So will it really be a credible roadmap as far as subsidies are concerned?
As far as oil is concerned, it's partly dependent on the global prices. And I think what we are not able to do is continuously track ourselves to the global prices. Petrol we have been able to do some extent. Diesel we need to implement. So we have to link fuel to market prices. And that's the only way you will attract newer investments in this area. So lastly, I would say there should be some policy.
Okay, that's what India Inc. seems to want. They seem to be in a confident mood, but I don't remember if they always are in a confident mood going into the budget and then the disappointment comes later. But generally the expectation is it may not be such an insipid budget. But what does the market expect? Let's get it back to the stock market once again.